We'll get started here in half a second. I'm grabbing a quick snack, so rather than you listening to me eat on stream, I'm gonna answer questions, but we'll get started here in about 1 or 2 minutes. Sorry there, Trung. Who's ready to do some assignments? We're gonna get the chapter 1 quiz out of the way. Maybe do a little chapter 2. I should have gotten a quest bar. We'll throw some 50 points. I got some beef jerky. So good stuff right here. So excellent. Little protein snack. Feel some hunger. Okay, we'll get started in just a moment. I'm sorry. Chapter 2, Crystal, you got it. I appreciate it so much that people are here. We're gonna do it till Liver King. I'm the truth. This is the physique you get if you're this is the all natty Liver King eating beef jerky nuggets things. Really good right here. Just Jack's Links or whatever it's called. Sasquatch people. It's the last of my snack. That's it. It's gonna be gone. All natty. Yeah, I know you're thinking there's no way he's not. There's no way. Once again, please, as I make jokes, and it's really sad that the Liver King was definitely not. I know, right? You do realize you only have one body, and I guess some of the mistakes I've made in my life, biggest mistake I've made in a long time is I didn't floss for a while. Like I brush, use Listerine. Use Listerine twice a day. But if you're not flossing, like my dentist was like, you got pearly white teeth. Your teeth are pearly white, but you got cavities between your teeth. No. Yeah, I thought someone said, no, flossing is a scam. No, get your first root canal. I mean, I don't suggest it, but floss. So now I've been flossing, and it was a bummer. And also during COVID, I didn't go to dentist appointments. I had to get what's called scaling. Ooh. Go to your dentist. Brian's tips for life. So Jenna, I use non-alcohol based Listerine. So to Jenna's comment right there, I use non-alcohol based Listerine, which I think is all right. From what I understand, you should be fine on that. Do your own research on everything. Anytime someone makes a suggestion to you. Okay, Jenna is saying you're safe then. So I use the non-alcohol based. So be careful. If I had floss, I'm gonna visit you real quick. So make sure to look into stuff. Yeah, but flossing, I think I had an emergency root canal and they couldn't put numbing cream. Oh my gosh, Thomas, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's what I use. Non-alcoholic mouthwash. 2 seconds, we'll get started right here. Can't hear me. But my number one suggestion, once again, is floss. Floss, please. Do it. Probably make parents super happy. Be like, I'm flossing every day. My stats teacher told me to floss. Mubot. Let's throw some Mubot points out. All right, we're going to get that first quiz up and going. So your quizzes might be different. Floss, like your teeth depend on it. Noah, so good to see you here. We're low on 50 points for random Noah appearing. How many people do we have? Charcoal and toothpaste is also horrible for your teeth, apparently. It could be. I don't know the research on that, Adam. So you know what we do? In statistics, this is the last thing I'll say before we start this. Anytime we're trying to make decisions, we need what to make decisions? We're going to throw more points. What do we need to make decisions? How do we make decisions and how do we live our life? Based on, Lily has it right there, the data. We need data. We need to see research on it. We need to see, is this beneficial? Is this detrimental? What's the research on it? What's the stats? What's the numbers? We say, bring data to me. Let me see what's going on right here. I am one individual data point, someone who did not floss. I brushed my teeth. It's pearly white teeth. But we need some stats for one. That's why we have statistics. Give it PG, Chong. We need stats. We need data. So let's go right here and open up the quiz and start looking at some data right here. Okay, here we go. We're going to do every single quiz question. Every single quiz question. You ready? Not the biggest fan of these ones right here, but they're important. So when you think about this, a person's grade in school is generally identified as a number. We'll do that one here soon coming up, Nicolette. Check it out. The quizzes are not timed, so you have as much time as you want to do these. So we're going to mark these videos right here with the questions we are doing. And let's go right here to the first question. Afternoon data. Here we go. First question, ready to do it. So let's talk about the importance of this too, though. When you are collecting data, Chapter 1 quiz. Chapter 1 quiz. And this is many grocery stores. Why do you think grocery stores collect data on you? Why do you think grocery stores collect data on you? We're throwing lots of bonus. There'll be different questions. Your questions will be included in here. We'll do them all. Just follow along. We got this. Probably like 30, 40 minutes, and we'll do every single question. Why do you think grocery stores collect data? You'll see a lot here. You got this. To understand you are, how much you buy, to collect data on you, to make decisions. So, let's see right here. What do these cards allow grocery stores to gather? Well, this is the thing, is grocery stores can collect tons and tons of data. Here's the answers. Because the answer is, if we talk about this as normal humans, like, ignore that this is a quiz for a second, right? Because we have to quiz you somehow. But grocery stores can collect, like, where you live, how much you're spending, what products are you buying. Your questions will be different. So you get arrangements of these questions right here. Good questions, Cameron. So you will see different questions on here, but I am marking the video for each question. If you miss one or have to leave, I will mark the video. But Cassidy has it right there. They're trying to understand you and how much you buy. So why would they do this? Well, the number one thing for grocery stores is just trying to do what? What are they trying to do as a grocery store? When you think about it, just in general, what they're doing with these questions is they're trying to have you think about analytics and why we do this. They're trying to make profit. They're trying to make money. So did anyone have this question? Type a yes if you had this as one of your questions. If you go through your 5 or 6 questions, these will be different ones. Like, you will see some of these. Did anyone have this as their question? You see right there, Lane has it. People will have different ones. So you will see different versions. There's quite a many questions you could have. We're going to do them all right here. So guess what? And so follow along, practice along. Here we go with the next question. Let's do it. Many online retailers market products. What do online retailers hope to gain? Once again, why do you think online retailers are going to keep data on you? So this one right here, people might have. Don't worry about their answers, but just think for a moment, like, why do online retailers collect data? Like, if you go over to Amazon, think what Amazon's doing. And we'll mark this question right here. What is Amazon doing with your data? Or, like, and this is something we should know about the common age of data. So this is Chapter 1 quiz. And this is many online retailers. What is Amazon doing with your data? They're doing targeted ads. Yep, and sourcing everything but the first right here. So there's the answers, but they're doing targeted ads. That's probably the biggest one. Lane, that's the real analytics. Lane, we're throwing you 50 points right there. So targeted ads is what people do, because then they're making decisions on how to market to you. So pricing, designs, revenue for selling. These are the answers right here. But we're not just here to think about what these answers are. We're here to think about, if you're watching something on, let's say, Netflix, they're usually going to make what's to you. What is Netflix usually going to make to you? What is Netflix usually going to make to you? Suggestions, exactly. And so how would they make suggestions? Based on your previous history, which is your what? They're going to make suggestions on your previous history, which is your what? Recommendations, suggestions, your data, right? So why does Netflix care to make suggestions to you? Just think theoretically, why does Netflix care if you watch more things? Exactly, Olivia right there. Great answers. So why does Netflix want to keep you watching Netflix? And the answer is, in and of itself, the answer. Why does Netflix want you to watch more Netflix? For your page on TikTok. So they already have you, right? But you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Hulu, you've got lots of choices, right? So in this day and age, you might be like, well, Netflix is not allowing multiple people on an account now, so I don't know. I'm not going to renew my Netflix. Whatever, I'll go over to Hulu. I've got lots of shows there. But if you're like, everything I watch is on Netflix, then you'll keep your Netflix subscription. So Netflix is very interested in keeping you going down a rabbit hole. Sam, perfect answer right there, keeps you down a rabbit hole of shows to where they keep suggesting. And this is actually something we call market basket analysis and statistics, where people who have watched this show might be more likely to watch another show. It's called What's Lift. Like maybe 70% of people watch this show, but if you watch like Bridgerton, then you might be like way more likely to like maybe Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch. So you never know. Like they look at the suggestions between shows and figure out what people like and don't like, and the algorithm they use to make those suggestions. It's all data based. More chicken. So let's look at the next question right here. Sensors in a parking lot right here are going to determine whether a parking lot is being utilized or not utilized. So when you think about this right here, and let's mark the question so people can come back to this. When you think about this, and I think a lot of these questions are really great. They get you thinking, but that's the whole point. We just want you thinking. So when you think about this right here, why would we put sensors in a parking lot? Don't even worry about their answers. You know, I'll show you the answers. You'll get the answers. I just want you thinking. Why would we put sensors in a parking lot? Why would maybe let's say downtown Knoxville puts sensors in their parking lot. Why would downtown Knoxville put sensors in the parking lot, which they already have? They already have the thing where people come in and out to know who goes in and out, to see if parking is available so they can put on the sign if parking is available. And then the businesses could say, when are the busiest times of day? And then you could schedule people at those times. Or maybe you have someone outside handing samples or advertising to people, and you know the busiest times of the year and of the day to see popularity. That's all analytics right there. So the answer should be basically centralized around that. The owners of the parking garage can advertise when parking is available, just like we said, as we would see in downtown Knoxville. They can also communicate with businesses about the hours when spots are available and when they should encourage more business. And so once again, don't worry, we'll give the answers out here. But the point is to think about how data analytics can actually help us with this. And if we were to have this as a real conversation with someone like, well, you know, if we get the analytics from G10, we could figure out like when and when to park. You know, like what if someone told you, would it be helpful to know that this parking lot on campus has 20% vacancy at this time? Who would think that would be a very helpful thing to know? If I told you G10 on campus at this time of day is always 20% vacant. And maybe it's like a class time, like there's an exchange or like a certain time period. If I told you, that'd be like, you'd be like, ooh, I need to know that. I'm going to make some decisions around that. We actually call that prescriptive analytics. So if I could predict the future for you and tell you, okay, here's what to expect in the future, you might start organizing your life around that and doing some analytics that are going to be your choices relative to the predictions I'm making in the future. So very important to understand the UT. Yeah, I can't imagine working for parking, and parking is always hot button issue right there. Hot button issue. I'm gonna mention, they say don't mention religion and politics. They should add parking to that list. Don't mention religion, politics, or parking. Those are the things, the hot button issues of society. Satellites send back information. How much researchers use this information both in the long term and the short term to help us study climate? So this is really cool. I'm very always interested in climate change because when we look at climate change, let me get the mark on this question. Once again, we're just going to keep going through these questions and talking analytics. So chapter 1 quiz, I should just call them all chapter 1 quiz, left to right. Satellites in the sky like a diamond. Old song, I guess. When you think about this, when we do climate change is going to be used to predict the future. And I really like looking at the graphics because it tells you how statistics work. Climate change predictions time series. And what we want to see is a graphic like this. Let me open in a new window here so you can see. Cool. Okay. What this graphic shows us is many different models right here. And it was created a little while ago too. Good point right there. But the further you go into the future, which is true of any model, the more uncertainty you have. So with this, you have to be very careful because these are all different models right here created by all different people. Now, they're all backed by data because we have many different techniques in forecasting. We have ARIMA models, we have exponential smoothing models, we have neural nets can make models. If you ever heard of neural nets and AI, we use neural nets in time series. And all of this can be run using R, and I've coded all different things like this. And I've run time series models on forecasting the climate myself. But here's the thing to notice. What do you notice about where we are at in the predictions for the future that all of these models show? What do you notice that all of these models show? they would all show, or at least they all show, this one shows they all show an increase. Depends on how much. And truthfully, a lot of them, which I should see, there should be even more uncertainty, because when you go really far into the future, this one does a little bit better of a job. So let me copy the image address again. This is just the way stats works. The further you go into the future, the more what you have. The models predominantly show increases. Yep, Miller, we can do some of that here too at the end. So stay at the end. The models show more what, which is what data does for you. I'm not a climate scientist. Like I know the CO2, methane, water vapor. There's a lot of other things in the atmosphere that cause greenhouse effects, trap sunlight in, because sunlight comes in and then it's opaque, it can't get out. That's how heating works with the greenhouse effect. So with this data right here, you see a lot more uncertainty in the future. So we know we have a warming trend. We are not as certain. It's so far into the future. So this is just how data works, though. And here's the thing. If someone wants to say it's wrong, how would someone change my mind on this? Someone's going to have to show me what to kind of change my mind. How is Brian going to change his mind on this topic? Which I'm always open to changing my mind on things. You got to bring me what? What do you got to bring me? Marcus already said a second ago. What do you got to bring me to? Well, what is our evidence in statistics? We need data. I need a model. I need a predictive model that has explanatory power that can be shown on like a holdout sample to make accurate predictions like RMSE holdout. Like these are stats terms that stats people will be like, oh yeah, I'll get you your RMSE holdout. And so I would need to see good reason to believe the model works, and that would be evidence based on the data. So with this right here, we can see the predictions they're making. And right here in the short term, researchers can more accurately predict weather patterns, including hurricanes and tsunamis. In the long terms, this rise and fall of temperature, water levels can help planning for future problems and guidance problems for protecting safety right there. Cool stuff. Next problem. Sports announcers love to quote statistics. Some of these questions are a little wacky. Only a few are wacky. So let's put the timestamp on this. Has everyone already had a question or two from this already? Sports announcers. Has everyone already had a question or two from this already? Has everyone seen maybe a question so far? We're going to keep going through. Yes, cool. Let's keep doing this. Sports announcers love to quote during the Super Bowl. They particularly love to announce when a record has been broken. They might have a list of Super Bowl games along with the teams, total scores, all that good stuff right there. Identify the who. Okay. So some of these questions get into the idea of like, who is a who and what is a what? The best way to understand who's and what's is when you think about data right here, the who's are going to be the followings. The who's are the rows. So these are the who's. And everything up here are the what's. So who did you collect data on? We collected data on UT students. What did you collect data on about them? So the what's are the variables or the questions, like their relationship status. But the who would be like, this individual student is one of our who's. So that is a who right there. And then a what is a variable. Does that make a little more sense for anyone who has a who and a what question? So the who's are the what's of a data frame. And the what's are the columns. So it's like, what variables did you collect on? What did you learn about them? And who did you learn about? There's a few questions like this. So when we look at this right here and it asks, let's go back to the question. It says the who, it's going to be the games themselves. It looks like that. We're not learning about the sports announcers, the quarterbacks, the individual games, the two teams. It's going to be the individual games, right? Each team, total scores of the... they're talking about two teams right here, see? So it looks like the two teams, that's the who we care about, was the individual games. And we're talking a lot of stuff about the two teams. See, I second guess myself. That's why we show some answers right here. The individual games, they're talking about the Super Bowl. Let me read it again right here. Yeah, of all Super Bowl games, that's right there. List of all Super Bowl games. So if you had a list of all Super Bowl games right here, that would be the who. If you were in class today, we created an app. Who is the who? We didn't create it in class. But who is the who of this app we created right here? Who is the who of Brian's NFL player app? Pretty obvious. Who is the who of our NFL player app? The who of the NFL player app is who. The who of the NFL player app is who. Not just Tom Brady. It would be all the players. The who could be any player in the player app, which would be all of them. There we go, Peyton Manning. And then the whats are the different variables, like passing yards. These are the whats. So here's the who. So who do you want to learn about? What do you want to learn about? Does that make sense? The who's are all the players. And then the whats are what you want to learn about them. I hope this kind of helps. That's why I showed things like this to be like, okay, what do I want to learn? He doesn't have stats there. So a lot of things, no stats for Peyton Manning on. But there's the passing yards right there. What? So these are the whats. Oh, Manning better plus ratio. Nice. So those are the whats right there. The what we want to learn about them, and the who are the individuals. So the games themselves, the individual games right there, are the who. Who do we want to learn about? So now we're on to question 6 right here. Nobel Peace Prize winners, going over once again a bunch of who stuff right here. So let me mark it in the thing right here. Nobel Peace Prize. And stay around if you want to do the second quiz with us. We'll do some of that. NobelPeacePrize.org. So the website. Who are going to be the who's on the NobelPeacePrize.org? Just kind of think simply, if you have a site listing off who won, who's the who's on the Nobel Peace Prize? If you have a site listing off who won, who's the who's on the site? Chapter 2 after this. Who's the who's on the site? The winners, right? So the winners of the prize themselves, the people who have been awarded, are going to be the winners right there. Move down to that one. The people who won the prize, the winners of the Nobel Peace Prize, are who we would track data on, like maybe what they think about the whats. What did they get it in? What area of science? What year was it? What country of origin? So we can see which countries have more Nobel Peace Prizes because it's a competition. So those would be the whats. The who is who won it. The years would be the what, like what year was it? What country? What area? What area of science? All that good stuff right there. Good stuff. A researcher conducts an extensive research thing right here. Ooh, good stuff right here. Let's mark the question. Researcher conducts. Some shorter and longer questions. Chapter 1 quiz. A research center conducts an extensive survey consisting of an interview and medical examination with a representative sample of 5,000 people a year. The interview includes demographics, socioeconomic information, dietary and other health-related questions. The examination consists of a medical, dental, and physiological measurements, as well as laboratory tests administered by highly trained medical personnel. God, they said that. Describe the sample of the population and who and the what are the study. Okay. So in this, we have the sample and the population. The sample is the what? They're examining 5,000 people. Now, the population, as we talked about, is everyone they want to learn about. Do they want to learn about these 5,000 people? No. The sample is what they gather data on. So we got to be careful. No, it's not the 5,000, it's both. It looks like the population is going to be all people, because it really doesn't. I wish they made it clear to learn about all people, but the population is going to be all people. The sample is the 5,000 people taken that they collect information on. So the sample is what you learn about to make what's on the population. So once again, we love teaching to the test. You learn from a sample to make what's on a population. You learn from a sample to make what's. Think of an I word. So you want a representative sample. You want to learn from your sample to make what's on a population. You learn from a sample to make inferences right there, Lane. 50 points right there. Hopefully it generalizes right there. Rachel, more answers. It should generalize. We should be able to be like, here is what we learned from the sample. Does it generalize? Well, if we had a representative sample, then we can make those inferences and we can learn. So that should be right there. And then describe the who and the what of this study. The who is going to be the people we are trying to understand. I think someone just said it earlier. And then the what is going to be all these characteristics, the medical, there we go right there. So show completed. And all the people right there, the samples of 5,000. And the who are the subjects right here. So it is, the who is the selected subjects. Who did they collect data on? The what includes all that information right there. So who did they collect information on very specifically? Plus, I'm shaking. Who did they collect information on, and then what did they collect? Who did they collect information on, and what did they collect about those individuals? Next question, here we go. Facebook uploads more than 350 million photos every day onto its servers. For this collection, describe the who and the what. And so when you think about the who and the what right here, who, what is Facebook storing? What is Facebook storing? So the Facebook question right here. Facebook is storing the photos. Exactly. So Facebook is storing the photos right there. And then think about this. So the thing right here is they're storing the photos and they're going to get the facts. I got to throw 50 points. So many people answering the question right here because Facebook is storing the photos and then the photos are the things they're going to learn about right there. That's exactly right. So sometimes we show the answer. Sometimes we just click the answers themselves. But Facebook is storing the photos. And then what is going to be all the facts about those photos, all the different things they're learning about those photos right there. So that's going to be the biggest things right there. Okay, next question. A recent newspaper article on Americans' eating habit. The cases in this study were, so let's take a note on the question as we've been doing right here so people can come back and review these. Chapter 1 quiz. A recent newspaper. Okay. The cases in the study were, the individual cases. The article reported that only about 1/3 of Americans adults ate 2 or more servings of fruit per day, and only 26% ate 3 or more servings a day. Okay. So the individual cases right here are what? The cases in the study are what? It might actually change the question when we do it, like if we show complete. It should be the individual cases because the U.S. states, it's just from the states, right? Should be individual Americans. Should be individual Americans. The individual cases right here is going to be each individual. So when it's talking about the individuals, it's basically saying who are the each who's. Think about like a row of data right here. Each individual American is going to report. Nice job, see? Get some ones that we have right here. This might have different versions. No, it's just that. Sometimes I click it to see if it has a different version. Because I think it's going to give some more different versions here coming up. But with this one right here, so great job, people following along. We'll do some chapter 2 quiz after this. But yes, so each individual case, think of it as this. Each individual case is just a what of data. Each individual case is just a what of data. Yep, it would be the who's, like who did they collect data on? They're using a lot of different wording right here, which is all right. You have to know how like people talk about it to be like, what is each individual case? They're just talking about like a row of data, like if someone reported their information. So each person who reports information is an individual case or a who. Like who did we collect data on right here? These are the individual cases. Does that make sense to say that? These are the individual cases. These are who we collected data on right here. So those are the individual cases. That's who we collected data on. Nice. Continuing on. Same sort of thing right going on. I guess we could just mark this video. The population is going to be what? Now, give me a definition of the population first. The population is everyone we want to what about? So it's the same sort of thing where they're asking Americans their eating habits. So the population is what? What is a population? Sometimes called a population of interest. And it's good to remember it as population of interest because you're interested in it. So you take a sample. Well, it's kind of, I'll tell you 20 minutes. It's a category of stuff. A better different definition of population, and we'll give you 50 points. We're going to go give all answers points right here. Keep going. Keep answering questions. You get points for answering, so keep doing it. Population is a what? What is the population? What is the population? What is it? We have to know what it is to answer it. Well, it might be, so a population, but what is a population? The population is everyone we want to understand. Good to see you, Jamarcus. The population is everyone we want to understand. So we take information on, or everything we want to understand, we take information on some Americans. Well, it's not everyone who we can sample. That would be everyone in our sample frame. So it's called a sample frame if we can get to them. So we take a sample. Maybe you talk to 100 UT students to understand all UT students. Does that make sense? So the population would be everyone we want to understand. So you take a sample of like 100 Americans to then understand all Americans. So that's what we do right there is we take a smaller sample. So it's going to be all American adults is going to be our population of interest. So the definition of a population is everything we want to understand. It could be people, but the population is going to be everything we want to understand. It's another recent, a coffee shop next to your university. A coffee shop. 3203. Making good time right here. A coffee shop. So for the coffee shop right here, the who's are going to be the individuals we talk to. So explain to me, who are the who's here? So who would the who's be? Who would the who's be? So don't worry about the answer. Think about this. It'd be students we speak to, right? So it'd be the students who come into the coffee shop, because we are going to be the ones, should say the students who come into the coffee shop, because those are going to be the ones, or the customers. Those are the people we get data on. And here's the thing. If you don't look at their answers, you know it way better. So try, and I got to throw 50 points, everyone answering right there. The more you can do it without looking at their answers, the better you're doing. Next one, a coffee shop. Still going on right here with coffee shop data. Coffee shop next to university surveys potential customers. Students selected randomly walked onto campus. They were surveyed about where they live. So this one's a little bit obvious, or at least because you just look over what they asked. I think the only one they didn't ask was anything about the coffee shop. So you just say, well, what they asked them where they live, their budget, their home address. So those are the whats. The whats are the questions you ask of people. The who's are the individuals you get data on. So what did they ask them? What questions were answered? Nice and easy right there. Do another coffee shop. Here we go. Okay, so someone mentioned this one earlier, a person's grade. Here we go, a person's grade. And with a person's grade right here, when you think of a grade level as categorical, well, first let's do the easy one, I think. If a grade level is quantitative, what can you do with quantitative numbers? If I give you numbers like 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, what could you do with quantitative numbers? Like 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. What could you do with those numbers? Do math stuff. Do you see any answer down here that has math stuff? So with numbers like 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, do any of these answers down here have mathy stuff with them? So we want to see how it could be quantitative. So this says right here, principal assigns each student time for recess. She wants to have students of the same age on the playground. But that's like a group, right? Average right here, or average right here. She finds the average grade level. So if we consider it as a quantitative variable, we can take the average of it. Great job. 50 points, all those answers, good practice. But does that make sense? Like if we consider grade a number, we can average them, right? So because we could take the average of a bunch of numbers, that's kind of how quantitative values work, because you can average them right here. Let's go up to the top right here and look, we got the same sort of trick, average, but if it's categorical, we wouldn't be able to do that. And then we see putting people on the same time at the same playground as groups. This is averaging again. And the mean is just another word for average. So that narrows it down to right here. Makes sense? Exactly. So these are all answers of ways to treat it quantitatively, those wrong answers. This is the only categorical way, and this is the only quantitative way, and other categorical answers that are wrong answers right there. But if it's quantitative, we can get the mean of it, the average, and so you could treat it that way. Good stuff. The Postal Service, let's take a quick note on it right here. And thank you so much, everyone. We're just rocking and rolling through these. So Chapter 1 quiz, the Postal Service. Great band right there. So with the Postal Service right here, Uses 5-digit codes. In what sense is zip code categorical? So zip codes can be used to measure distances. Nah, nope. There are exactly as many zip codes as what if this was true? Zip codes would be what? There is exactly as many values of zip codes as there are cases. That would mean zip code is a what? And the answer is A. Great work right there. But this wrong answer is interesting because it's basically saying every zip code is unique, which is not true. If this was the answer, really good wrong answer here to think about why it's wrong. It'd be identifier. Great job, Ben, right there. If that was the answer, that's kind of how identifiers work. Identifiers are categorical, but zip codes don't hold those characteristics that identifiers have. So good work right there. A poll question asked how you're doing. I was pretty sure there's stuff on like a poll question. So which were we at? 36. Chapter 1 quiz. A poll question. And let's take a look at it. So a poll question asked people their affiliation. People said Democrat, Independent, Republican, or other. So which one of these is it? Now, there's a lot of interesting answers right here, but there's only really 2 types of data. So Democrat, Independent, Republican, other, no response. It puts people in categories. Now, this is categorical what technically? It's not ordinal. These have no order to them, so it is categorical, but it's categorical what? It is 100% categorical, but it's also categorical what? It has no order to it, nominal. So it's categorical nominal because there's no order. If it was like some sort of like, or if we did something like do you lean far left or far right, that's technically ordinal, or are you moderate? Because that can go like left, moderate left, or technically I guess right. I don't know which way you go, left or right. But that could be considered more ordinal because you can go left, moderate, right, right, or like far right wing, far left wing. So you can talk about a variable that way to give it an ordinal nature across a scale from left to right. This is not ordinal, though. It's just putting people into groups. So it's nominal, categorical. Gallup poll right here, June 2011 Gallup poll. Mark this one right here. Are people having fun? Who has a 100 already on this? My goal is for you to get that 100. I want to see as many 100s as we can, and I want you to also learn. Let's have both objectives achieved. Having fun, like that right there. 50 points for having fun. 100s all around. You got to earn it, though. Practice. A June 2011 Gallup poll, thinking about job situation in America today, would you say these times are good or bad? They were chose good or bad. What kind of variable response is this? Good or bad? Bad is a what? Don't even read their answers. Good or bad is very simply a what? Asking good or bad is very simply a what? Don't even read. Don't even worry about it. Good or bad? 2 more than you're done. We got this, Olivia. You got it. It's very clearly categorical. It's just categories. There's no real. You could do good, very good, and that'd make it more ordinal. Let's see right here. Because the variables options are numbers. No. Categories. Good. We're almost done. Look at this. A pharmaceutical company conducts an experiment to see how long something takes to go through the bloodstream. And we're going to measure this in how many minutes it takes. So if we're measuring something in minutes, we could do what on those numbers? One of my favorite ways to remember this is if you're doing something like it took 5 minutes for this to go through my bloodstream and took 10 minutes for it to go through someone else's, then you can do quantitative mathy stuff on them, right? So this is going to be a quantitative variable because you can take differences, you can find the averages, and it's real numbers, which is the deal with quantitative variables. So good stuff right there. Woo, lots of questions. Medical researcher is looking at the increased heart rate of patients who are taking a stress test. What kind of variable? Okay, so measures the increase in heart rate. Okay. So they're going to see how much faster your heart goes. So pretend you're answering this question. They give you the stress test. How much faster did your heart go? How much faster did your heart go? I'm going to save that just in case I lose this. So answer the question for me. How much faster did your heart go? And then you'll see the answer is definitely this. So a medical researcher. So we answer the question, it's numbers, right? It could be like 10 beats per minute, 15 beats per minute, which then we could take the difference and say like, oh, these people increased by this much, and we would definitely have a quantitative variable right there. So that is quantitative. That's good stuff right there. Recent newspaper article. The article reported that only about 1/3 of Americans ate 2 or more servings of fruit vegetables per day. Californians ate the most fruits, while Tennesseans ate the least. The state a respondent lived in is a what variable? Love it. Oh, yeah. People are just, well, I got to mark it. Geez, we're doing it so quick. It's just what state do you live in, right? Why is that not identifier? Just to throw in an additional review question. Why is that not identifier? The state a respondent lives in is not identifier. Why? The state a respondent lives in is not identifier. Why? Because it can repeat. Identifiers are unique for everything, so it's something that can repeat. So you know it's not an identifier, and we just go here and it's categorical. And we're good to go. Once again, don't look at their answers first. Try to think about how you would answer it, and then let me look at it. A recent newspaper article on, so we got to do one more. Well, we'll just keep it. We're on the same type of question. A recent newspaper article on American eating habits. The article reported that only about 1/3 of Americans ate 2 or more servings per fruit per day. Only about 26% ate 3 or 4 more. Californians ate the most fruit, yada, yada, yada. The phrase 26% ate 3 or more servings of vegetables per day refers to what kind of variables? So here's the thing. And I think this one's the iffy one. Because, let me look at the first answer. Because they're really getting into something right here. The variable could be quantitative or categorical depending on whether the subjects were asked, how many servings do you eat per day? And then they reported it this way, or they were asked, do you eat more? That's a tricky one. Because when you summarize data, you could put it into groups. You could say like, oh, we asked them how many fruits and vegetables do you eat a day? Or we could have just said, do you eat 3 or more servings of fruit per day? Does that make sense? This is a tricky one. It just depends on, did they say how many, which is quantitative, or did they say, do you eat more than 3 fruits and vegetables a day? Because they could just ask that as the question. That would be yes, no. So they can take this and summarize it if they took a quantitative or categorical question. Really tricky right there. In and of itself, it should say, how was the data collected? Was it which is what A gets towards. Was it collected quantitatively or categorically? Yep. Good stuff out there. Coffee shop next to university, a weekly budget from a student, their food budget. Just think about your weekly food budget. Think about what it is, and then you'll have the answer to the question. The weekly food budget of a student is what? The weekly food budget of a student is what? The weekly food budget of a student is what? Quantitative. Actual real numbers right here. Quantitative. And then last but not least, ooh, this is the fun one. This is the guy riding his bike. So he's riding his bike, and he's measuring how close each, probably a lot of people came to the video for this one, I bet. You get this one, you're like, man, I got the hard one. That's not that bad. So, chapter 1 quiz, Ian Walker, riding his bike. Okay. So, he's on his bike, and he's trying to notice if he wears a helmet, if people drive closer to him, or if they drive further away. And so, who are the people in the study? So, think about this. Who are the people in the study? I think so. He's going to collect data every time a car passes him, which maybe he's got a camera to record it and then he's going to track it later. But every time a car passes him, that's what he collects data on. So he would be over here with his data sheet and he would collect data on the first car and he'd go here to distance and he would be like, that car was 2 feet away. That one was 1.2. Does that make sense? Like he's going to track how far these cars were away. And then he's going to also have over here whether or not he was wearing a helmet. And he's going to have here like, no, I wasn't. Yes, I was. And I think he finds that people like actually are a little bit closer to him when he is wearing a helmet. So he's going to take the distance each car was away. So each who right here is a car passing him. Great job people doing right there. Every car passing is going to be a who right there. So every time a car passes him, he's like, take some data down. So it's not all cars on the road. This would be the what? All cars on the road would be considered the what? No, but that's not the who of the study. The who of the study, that's the population of interest. Who did we collect data on is the sample we took. Does that make sense? So this is the population of interest right here. Everybody we could think about, like put our results onto, and then each instance of a car passing is going to be what we're sampling, the who right there. Identify the what for the study. The distance at which cars pass the bicycle rider. The types of cars, no. The number of days which the researcher wore a helmet. He does analyze that. It's kind of the difference. I don't think that's one of the answers. We get it wrong. Sorry about that, but we'll see the right answer here. Identify the population of interest. So we just said it earlier. He wants to put his results onto what group? He wants to put his results onto what group? The population of interest is the big group we want to talk about. The population of interest would be what? Well, is he interested? Yeah, that might be it, actually. All the cars when they pass the researcher. Good answer. Yeah, it's not the researcher. All cars that drive on the road. It's probably he's interested. See, they are tricky. All bicyclists who ride on the road with cars. I think he's interested in every time people pass someone. Dun, dun, dun. It is D. Yep. Slim said it right there. So he wants to know not just for himself, because the researcher is the sample. So he's taking data on just himself, and then he's trying to make inferences about how this is for everybody. Does that make sense with the theories going on right here? He's riding along collecting data on each car that passes him and the distances they pass. So there's the what's he's collecting on. And then he learns about himself to make inferences about everyone who passes cyclists on the road. Did we get some hundreds? If you didn't get 100, every section of this video is marked and might actually be if you update the video description. I have been marking everything, and we'll do a few chapter 2s right here. So if you go and check it out, we got those hundreds right there. I can't promise we'll always do all of these. Chapter 1 quiz is one of the easier quizzes, and it's a good start to the semester. Just get some hundreds out of the way. Chapter 2, just the long one. Which one? We'll do a few chapter 2s. Let's go for like 15 more minutes right here. Let's do some chapter 2. So thank you so much if you're here. I'm going to send this out to the first class. It is marked. Just jumped into this stream right here. So thank you so much. How many people we got watching? We could have one person watching. That'd be totally fine. But I always like when we get people here interacting. That's what makes it fun. It really does give me energy. So thank you to everyone who's interacting. Energy. 40 people watching. Let's do it. Let's do a little chapter 2. So we won't do everything in chapter 2 today. But I think people want to see some of the math. 38, we lost some people. They said, well, no, great job. And this is all just extra. This is recorded. So this, I also wanted to do this right now, but this is what office hours is like. So if you miss office hours, what could you do? Let's say you can't come to office hours. You're like, Brian, I can never make it to office hours. What could you do? We can do the homework or the quiz. Go back and watch it. So this is what normal office hours are normally like right now. What question do people want to do? This is what we do during office hours. Okay, what question do people want to do? Let's take the first 4 questions. I was going to do 3, but let's do 4. Have a good night, Jejun. Let's do... Nope, we don't monetize them. Nope. I don't monetize. There's some videos I monetize, but they're the wide purpose videos, not the ones that are specifically designed for your education. Like these right here. The calculation, what does it start? Give me the first... So give me the first start of the question. Like you see how these say like a pharmaceutical company? If you say like... Just name the very start of the thing. Tell me homework quiz. So say like homework and then say this. Name the questions, we'll do them. You name them. So let me write them down. Chapter 2 quiz, you ready? It's more fun when you write chapter 2 quiz. Or you do chapter 2 homework. Chapter 2 quiz. Chapter 2 quiz. Spell it wrong. Flood deaths. Oh my gosh. And is that on the quiz or the homework? So we got here, it starts with flood deaths. Okay, so flood death. On the quiz, thank you. There we go. First one, and we'll do 3 more here. So you name them, we do them. And this is how we generally do it. You just name the questions. You say, oh, chapter 2 quiz this. And then I'll put it in line, and we just go through and we do them. So when you jump into office hours, you're like, hey, Brian, can you do the such and such? And I'll usually copy paste it. Do you have any more? Is your call. Find one you're working on. Tell me the first like 2 or 3 words of it. And then I'll do it right here. And then I'll timestamp it in the video so you can check it out later too. Any others? Your call on these. Like, can we do this one? Then do the distribution. What is the very first few words on it? Wayne Gretzky. Thank you so much. Wayne Gretzky with a Q. Give me the first Gretzky. There we go. Wayne Gretzky. And how does the speeding ticket one start? Like, what's it say for the very start of it? We do 3 here. I'll bring this over here, and then we'll get started. And, okay. So we're doing flood deaths. Here we go. Yeah, you can have both open. Now I got to find the questions. Wayne Gretzky, flood deaths. More chill music. So many questions. Was that Wayne Gretzky? Body fat. Lots of questions. Definitely take notes while doing these. Lots of good stuff. Check out the visualization video, Trung, and let me know if you have questions. Oops. And the visualization video goes over how to do it and take the screenshot. The biggest thing's going to be installing R. Let me know if you have any issues. Really good question there, Trung, and we can do that probably next time. I'm going to do a few of these right here. Blood deaths, the data in the accompanying. Okay, let me rewrite this. The data in the accompanying. Okay, so for this data right here, let's take a look at how to do this. And this is going to be a huge help if we use jump. Can we start our quiz progress? Should be still open. Definitely, Crystal. Good question right there. Some points in the chat. So this is how to do it. Are you ready? Have jump installed. With jump installed, you can click right here and copy the data. When you copy the data and copy the clipboard, you want to click either Command C or Control C. Command C on a Mac and Control C on a PC. Now that you've copied the data, it's floating around on your clipboard right now in the background of the computer. We're going to go into jump. So jump's going to be a huge help on this. With jump open, go to File, New, Data Table. File, New, Data Table. So I'm pausing right here. Remember, you can pause the video at any time to see where I click, but I do try to pause for a moment so you can see where I'm clicking. File, New, Data Table. Very important. Don't click inside of it yet. It'll do everything right here. We're going to go to Edit, Paste with Column Names. That's because at the very top of the column, it had flood deaths up there. So let's paste with column names. So if you look at this data right here, you can actually do it by hand as though you're doing a test question for a lot of these. And let's show a little bit of the work right here. So with this, we're going to go, ooh, it doesn't have a column name. I stand corrected. Do not paste with column names. You might have to go to File, New, Data Table. It looked like it had a column name. We just want to paste. If it has a column name, it goes at the very top. So I stand corrected. You just want to go to Edit, Paste. I thought I saw a column name. It does not have a column name. Please only use Edit, Paste. Sorry about that. Someone's like, oh no. But I noticed the first value went to the very top. You don't want to see the first value at the top. If you see a number up here like this, then you've done something wrong. That number should not exist. When you paste, it should have the values like this, and there should be 21 values. Confirm with the My Pearson question right here, and it should have 21 values right there, 21 randomly selected years from the following. So with this, we have the 21 values. We've confirmed it over here in Jump, and we can see them. Now, on the test, we give you smaller data sets to find things like the mean, the median, the min, the max, all that good stuff right here. I'm going to click this and go to Sort and put it in descending order. So I right-clicked up here, or two-finger click on the Mac, and go to Sort, and under Sort, go to Descending Order. So whenever you're finding the median, you want to put the data in order. So right now, there's 21 values. Think of it this way. If you have 21 values, then there would be 10 lower values, 10 higher values, and the median is the middle number. If there's an odd amount of numbers, there is a median. If there's an even amount of numbers, like let's take 4 numbers right here, with the median of 4 numbers, you have to average the middle numbers. So if you have right here 4 numbers like 1, 3, 6, 10, you'd have to average them to find the middle number. And that's just numbers right there. Average them. 4.5 would be the median because there is no middle numbers when you have n equals 4 observations. But with 21 observations, you would have a middle number. And so with this, let's look at the data right here. And you can see here's the 10 lower numbers. Here's the 10 higher numbers. And thus the median with the data values in order is going to be 82. So the middle number is 82. Now, the rest of this gets pretty interesting because we'll go to median, easy one to find. The Q1. Now, Q1 represents the 25th percentile. So if I were to have the bottom 50% over here, which is everything right here, the 25th percentile would be at the where of it. Think about this. So the 25th percentile would be, and let me draw on it. If we take our data and we look at it, and we have 0, 50th percentile, and 100th percentile of the data. Percentile means how far we've gone through the data. It might be row 5, or think about this. You could go up here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 second, be right back. Awesome. Jason, good to see you here. Row 5, exactly. So great job, Crystal, right there. This is kind of how we would do it on the test. And so, well, wait a minute. But check it out. If we have 10 numbers, we have a what amount of numbers right here? Be very careful. If we have 10 numbers, think about this. If you have 10 numbers, you have a what amount of numbers? So if you have 10 numbers, you have a what amount of numbers? If you have 10 numbers, you have a what amount of numbers? We've never done 25th percentile on test. Usually we just do median. But if you have 10 numbers, you have a what amount of numbers? You have an even amount of numbers, right? So it would be in position 5. It'd be in position what? Here's the lower 5, here's the upper 5. It'd be in position what? Not 5 or 6, but it'd be in position 5.5. But the good news is for us, it'd be right here, the average of those two numbers. So it'd be in position 5.5. So it'd be the average of those numbers. The same thing's going to work for the upper numbers right here. And we would take these two numbers and average them right here. So that's the more fun one right there. You'd have to take the average exactly, since there's an even amount of numbers. So taking the average of those upper numbers right there, 169 plus 142. Wow. 169 plus 142, 311. Take the average, 155. So the Q3 is that. And the lower one was 155, right? I think so. Yes, 55. And so the mean, we'll find that here in a second. The range is just going to be what? How do we find the range of the values on this? So you want to be able to find these by hand, especially for smaller data sets. How would we find the range? How would we find the range of the data? Who can find it for this data set? How would we find the range, and what is the range? How would we find it? What is the range? Smallest from biggest, right? So 398. 398. So the range is 398. Now the interquartile range is a little bit different. When you do the interquartile range, the range represents the min to the max, and the interquartile range is the range of the middle 50% of the data. So the interquartile range is Q1 and Q3 in their distance. So this is the IQR, and this right here is the range. So when you think about the range right here, we can just take big number minus small number again. Does that make sense? Like the IQR is the range of the middle 50%, because if you look up here, this is 50% of the data, and we just want to know how far apart are those numbers right there. The range is big number minus small number, and the interquartile range is the range of the middle 50%, which it says it is. It's like, okay. So what is the interquartile range looking at this? So how far away is Q3 from Q1? So go ahead and find that in the chat right here. How far away is Q3 from Q1? Because it's just big number minus small number. So basically you treat, when you think about how range works, you treat this number right here like the max. You treat this one like the min. And you just subtract their difference. Does that make sense? Does that, if maybe it's your first time doing this, or maybe you've seen it before, but it's like, okay, big number, small number, how far are they apart? 100.5. So that's how we find interquartile range, and it's a spread of the middle 50%. We're on that next class. Good job, Chris, right there, and Marcus, 50 points in the chat, and Crystal, great job too, and Miller, excellent work. So the only one we don't have here right now is the mean. So really, we would never give you one this big on the test. If we want to find the mean, Jump's got a lot of great ways to do this. You can go here to Analyze, Tabulate. Under Analyze, Tabulate, we're just going to drop the data over here. I think you drop it right there, right? And then we're just going to change this to mean. Boop. And there we go. Man, that's a weird mean. That's the mean, 118.0405, 118.05. Oof. 118.05. Ooh. As long as we didn't make any typos. Woo! So if you wanted to find the mean for this, you could just add them up. We don't usually give you that many numbers on the test. Sometimes we give you up to like 7 numbers. I would probably, maybe 10. I doubt 12. But I'd probably be careful adding them up because it's very easy to make mathematical errors. But just make sure you do it. It's super quick. Just get you answers like that. That's why we like using Jump. How'd you do that again? Okay, so good question. Go here, copy the data. Let me show again. To get the mean, go right here, click, and you can copy the data. Once you've copied the data, you want to hit Control or Command C to make sure it's copied. Now you want to go over to Jump, and inside of Jump, go File, New Data Table. File, New Data Table. And once you've pasted your data with Edit, Paste, make sure the column doesn't have the number at top. If it has the number up top, you need to paste without column names. Now you want to go to Analyze and Tabulate. Analyze, Tabulate. Under Analyze, Tabulate, you're going to take this column right here, which is your data, and put it into the cells right here. So you're going to drop this right in here under Analyze, Tabulate. Now that you have this right here, it's showing you the sum. Take this right here and replace it with mean, and you just found the mean of the data. How's that look right there? That should do it. We just did the flood death one. Happy times. You can find other things. I think, does it find the right IQR? Sometimes it should. Yeah, there's the IQR right there. 100.5. So we could just, bet it would have analyzed distribution. We could have probably just done all of it with default. I think we've eliminated the one that like didn't work. There's the 55. So you could just go analyze distribution. But I did it the longer way to practice getting the numbers. Here's the Q1, there's the Q3, there's the min, there's the max. It's important to know what you're looking at when you're looking at data, though, and be able to find some of these values and understand what they mean. Because we can find things like that with software. Just like if I'm trying to find things like this in R, I can just go here to summary of empty cars, and bada bing, bada boom, I've got the 5-number summary right here. So, and the mean, it gives you those. So there's that. Yeah, it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky, Crystal. And then do you have another one? We're going to do the Wayne Gretzky one. We could definitely do one more after that. So a little trickier, right? And so we got 100 on that one. Let's see if we see the Wayne Gretzky one. So this is the same one right here. So there, you could get another version of it. Where's the Wayne Gretzky? Here's the Wayne Gretzky one. Let's mark the video. And it's just good practice. So, oh no, we didn't mark the time on that. I got to go grab that. Okay, so the Wayne Gretzky one is being marked here at 1:03 or 1:04:03. I bet we did it for like 53:33. Cool. Okay, we'll go check that time. Okay, so the Wayne Gretzky one. Let's take a look at the data right here and see what we got going on with it. Would you use the mean or the median to summarize the center? Okay, what is the first thing? Every class heard this today. What is the first thing we need to know before we talk about mean or median? What is the first thing we need to know before talking about mean or median? We must know the what. Before talking about mean or median, we have to know the what. If it's skewed, right? Great job, Marcus, right there. The shape. So we have to know the shape. So let's go take a look at this. You ready? Oof. Is that skewed? Is that skewed? And they're being tricky. They're showing you a stem and leaf plot. A stem and leaf plot is like a histogram, but you see the numbers. Morning class got to hear this jingle. You'll get to hear it in the second class. Be careful, because they're trying to trick you right here. This is very skewed, right? But here's the question. Is this left or right skewed? Now, you might think it's right skewed. But the way it's skewed means basically it's pulled in a direction like it has a tail on the distribution. Do you see how the number line is reversed right here? So the number line, I'll show up the notes. Let me show you the notes from the morning class. We got a little bit further. So when something is skewed, you'll see me do this in the afternoon class, it has a tail. Right to the high, left to the low, whatever way the monster man's tail goes. The low side of the distribution has the what numbers on it? Has the what are numbers. The low side has the what are numbers. So right to the high, left to low. The low side has the what are numbers. You got it, Will. Thank you for asking. 50 points, Will. Yeah, I think like the slide can show it a lot better, like here. So the low side has the what are numbers. Crystal, I got Crystal. I'm throwing the 100 point, whatever. I'm trying not to hit that button, but Crystal, that's exactly it. It is going to be left skew. They're tricking you because the number line is flipped. So you have to be very careful with this. If they do ask skew, the number line is reversed. So in truth, it is actually left skew. You'd have to rotate it right here and see that it looks the following way with the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. So it is a left skew Monster Man. So it's very easy to get this one wrong if they're going to ask about skew, because Monster Man's tail right there is definitely on the low side. It's left to the low, right to the high. So those are the high numbers right there. Left to the low, right to the high, whatever way the Monster Man's tail goes. Very clearly, they're trying to trick us if they ask us the direction of the skew. So the median should be used because the distribution is very skewed. What's the median? 20 seasons. So if we have 20 seasons, is there a middle number? If we have 20 seasons, is there a middle number? If we have 20 seasons, is there a middle number? No. So we have like the 10 lower and the 10 upper. So we need to count up to position what here? So if we have 10 numbers, or if we have 20 numbers, yes, exactly, Trung. Great answer, Trung. So you have 10 lower numbers and 10 higher numbers. So the middle number is in position what? The middle number is in position what? If you have 10 lower numbers and 10 higher numbers. The middle number is in position what? Well, that's with 10 numbers. Good answer right there, Marcus. Yes, exactly. Great job. If you have 10 numbers, it's 5.5. Marcus, great job. It would be in position 10.5 if you have 20 numbers. So if there's 20 numbers, there's 10 lower and then higher. So think about this. If you have 5 numbers, the middle number would be where? If you have 5 numbers, the middle number would be in what position? If you only have 5 numbers, the middle number, which you can just do with your hand right? So does that make sense? If you do it, you're like, okay, if I have 5 numbers, the middle number is in position 3, and you can see it. It breaks apart the data set into the lower and the middle numbers. So you'd have one number right here. So this is just the amount of numbers. So that'd be in position 3. There is no number at position 10.5. So we need to go to the data set, and these are things you want to be able to do on the test. So we're not going to use jump. We just want to go here and go 1, 2, because these are the observations. Remember when looking at stem and leaf, this is just a number line. These are the observations. Like this is a season he got 45, 48, 64. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.5. So what's the answer? Or 11, excuse me. 10.5 is right here, I believe, as far as I can tell, unless I've miscounted. And you might double check your work, but let's double check it. I think it's right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I am going from lowest to highest, so read from left to right as you go across it. The median is what value? Is it 9? Is it 7? What is it? I'm trying to trick you. It's 79, because it's the average of 79 and 79. So we've done it. We've found the median, and we know how to read a stem and leaf. Very important right there to know both things, how to find the median and stem and leaf. Without just finding the mean, would you expect it to be higher or lower? So this is a big thing right here. Check out the example we did in class right here where we talked about salaries. So when you think about this, the median for this data set is what? If you look at these data points right here, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, the median is what? And this is a good note to have. See all these zeros? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. What's the median value of all the data? The median is what? The median is 0 because it's the middle value of all the data points. The median is 0. That's the middle number. And then would the mean be higher? Is the mean higher for this data? There's the mean, which there's as a value. The mean is higher, so say it with me. What follows the skew? What follows the skew? Does the mean follow the skew or the median follow the skew? Which of those follows the extreme values or the pull on the distribution? So let me ask you this. Does this change the median? So here's the median. At all times, this is the median. Did I change the median, yes or no? So that middle number's the median. Did I change the median? That's the mean. Did I change the median? No. Which value is changing when there's outliers and skew? The value that is changing with outliers and skew is the what? The mean, right? So the mean, this is the note, the mean follows the skew. What is the note that you need to know? The mean does what? The mean does what? And here, I'll draw it out for you a little bit here. I like to drawings. So if you have a data set and it looks like this, you would see like median here. And then where would the mean be? Which this is what our data looks like. Where would the mean be? Where would the mean be? Does anyone know where the mean would be? Well, it'd be the average, but where would the mean be respective to the median? This is what they're getting with their question. The hint is the mean follows the skew. So would the mean be in region 1 or region 2? Would the mean be in region 1 or region 2? The hint is the mean follows the skew. Trung's saying right there. Trung, 50 points. That's right. Because the mean follows the skew. And this is what's skewed. This is skewed to the left side, skewed to the low. Does that make sense? Yeah, excellent work. No, that's it. So the hint is the mean follows the skew. So the mean's going to be over here. Does that make sense? The mean follows the skew. So it's going to go towards the low side because maybe you have more data points over here pulling it down towards that side. So if you have a right skew distribution, the mean will be higher or lower than the median. So this is left skew data right here, left skew, because Monster Man's tail's going to the left right there. We'll put the left skew right there. This is right skew. And these are the good notes. Thank you so much, Jesse. And these are the things you need to know for the test. Like we asked, like, which of these is impacted by outliers? And the mean is impacted by outliers. The median is there. And the mean is probably somewhere over here. And we got a right skew Monster Man. There you go, right there. So, yeah, it's really helpful. This is why I tell people to come to class, because, like, I don't know, we try to find out fun ways to remember this, right to the high, left to the low, whatever way the Monster Man's tail goes. I guess we put the left over there on the other side, but the left side has the Monster Man's tail. So when you think about this right here, this is the left side, and this is the right side, and that's where the Monster Man's tails are at. So left skew mean is to the right. The mean always, so whatever way it's skewed, the mean will go that direction. Does that make sense? Whatever way it's skewed, the mean does what? So the mean compared to the median will always do what? So the mean always follows the skew. Good notes there, Crystal. Crystal, 50 points for asking for clarity. It follows the skew. Does that make sense? So when you think, where is the mean respective to the median? So let's say I generate some data here. You ready? Watch this. A random exponential 1,000 observations. So I'm going to make this into a histogram. This data is very clearly what skewed. This data is very, very clearly what skewed. Very clearly what skewed. It's very clearly right skewed. Great job right there. And what's interesting, if it's right skewed, we sometimes call that positive skew. We can actually measure the value of skewness. And you see how this is a positive number? Don't worry about that. That's way more advanced statistics. It's not like super advanced, but right skew means positive skew. So now think about this. If I tell you the mean of this data, well, I won't trick you. Here's the median. The median is right about here. Where do you think the mean is? Like, do you think the mean will be higher than this number or lower than this number when I run the mean of this data? When I run the mean of this data, do you think it'll be higher or lower? Remember, it's right skew. So we go back to our notes on it, and we say, well, if Brian's saying the median is somewhere in here, that's where the median is at, and it's right skew, but be careful. Remember, the mean follows the skew. The mean follows the skew. So the median is there. So the mean follows the skew. The tail is over here for the Monster Man. So here's your Monster Man here. And the mean, a different color here, black pen. The mean, red pen, don't lie, red pen. Scary, but scared scary for students. So there's the mean. It's probably not going to be that high. It might be. The mean is going to follow the outliers. So here we go. There's the mean. It's actually at 1.0. And so if we actually draw this properly, you can see the mean goes in the direction of the skew. Does that make more sense? So we can find these values and mark the mean right here as a value on the distribution. How are we doing on that? Just very important concepts that the mean follows the skew. The median is used for skewed data because it's not impacted by skew. Far outliers are not going to drastically impact the median because the median is just the middle number. It's not impacted by a very high value on the high side. The mean will get pulled in the direction of extreme values. So that's the good no step. Yep. Basically, you just want it, and that's what you want, Crystal, is you want it to make sense. So it's not like memorizing. You're like, okay, wait a minute, it's extreme values, and it gets pulled in that direction right there. Quick update. A2. Oh yeah, I got to pick up groceries here in a little bit. That would mean that what would you expect it to be, higher or lower? And it is lower because it is skewed to the left. So the mean is lower when it's left skewed. If you want to memorize stuff like that, that's always good. Is there one more people want to do? I think groceries are at 7. Oh, and I have a meeting with a student in Discord. Is that a 6 p.m. meeting? I might need to go because I think I have a meeting. Oh, did Adam figure this out? Oh my gosh, I think he used something. Oh my gosh. I think Adam figured this out. UI fluid page. Server. But I need it to be reactive though. Image URL. Image URL. No, it's not reactive though. Well, can I make it reactive? Okay, we're going to try something here to end. And will my app do it? Okay. No. There are different examples. So Marcus, here's the biggest thing. Come to any office hours and ask any question you want, and we'll do it. We're going to give real quick right here because I might have a meeting coming up. So did everyone get some quizzes done? Is it making more sense how to do it? We're going to see if Brian can finish his NFL app right here. Did people get some work done? That was kind of my big goal. Let me see if I can get this app working right here really quickly. So let me see what Adam said. Image URL. And the image URL needs to be reactive. So here's my picture source reactive. Okay, good. That's the picture source. But that can't go into the UI. Oh, man. I'm so close. The fluid page, source, image URL. Ugh. It's not going to work. Tags image source. Image URL. It's not going to work. Maybe it will. Please work. Please work. Okay. So we just want to throw it in there as a tags image source. Okay, let's try this. Tags image source. And no, the reactive thing. It's not gonna. I just want it to be text though. I can't send it up there, can I? Oh, real quick. We'll end off office hours here. Let me see if people are asking questions. Awesome, Andrew. Thank you so much. Next office hours Wednesday morning. We'll be doing chapter 2 quiz probably a lot. I'll email me. Yeah, email me if you have questions. Let me know. Great job, Chung, right there. Let me see if I can get this fixed. I really want to get this fixed so it looks nice and neat. Okay, so he's literally saying take the image source and no. Let's see. You're welcome, Crystal. You're welcome. Thank you so much, everybody. I want to get this app working really well. It's just a lot of fun. Like I like, I love doing data analytics. There we go. Peyton Manning. Headshot URL. Oh, I didn't run it. There we go. Okay. Says Peyton Manning's headshot URL. And app over here. Thank you. Let me throw out some more points. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And let me put the image. Okay, so let me go to. We can just put it right here. Okay. And if this works, it'll show Peyton Manning. Let me open a browser. Oh, it does. He's very tiny. Okay, so that worked. But the problem is it doesn't change. We need the image source. But you can't bring reactives up there, I don't think. Oh, man, we're so close. So close. I just need the server having the reactive. So close to every goal. One more little song right here. So close. Render text in Shiny that can be used for HTML tags. I don't think it can be. Tags $sign image from server HTML. Well, I'll figure it out. With that, Chris, great job. Time to head out. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.